Part 2. The Acquisition. Chapter 10. The Sanctuary and the Contract. The opulent chaos of the gala floor dissolved into the silent, heavily guarded serenity of the Grand Imperial Suite, a private sanctum reserved for Park Group's chairman. Jaehan practically dragged Kira across the Persian rug and into the main lounge. His grip was tight, desperate, a viscer anchor that he could not, would not release. Kira stumbled, pulled along by the sheer, unbridled force of his urgency. "Mr. Park, release me," she demanded, confusion warring with a slow burn of outrage. "What in God's name was that? You nearly collapsed." Jaehan stopped abruptly, his back hitting the cool, polished wall. He finally let go, but the moment his skin left hers, a flicker of panic returned, a desperate craving to reconnect. He looked down at his own hand, then back at the bewildered woman standing before him. Mr. An, scrambling, burst into the room behind them, his face pale and slick with sweat. He was holding the auto-injector, his professional facade completely shattered. "Chairman, the antidote. We need to stable—" Mr. An's voice hitched as he looked at Jaehan's neck. The spreading crimson rash, the signature of his anaphylactic response, wasn't there. The skin was perfectly clear, only a slight pink flush from the rapid shock. Jaehan didn't look at his assistant. His dark, penetrating eyes were locked solely on Kira. He inhaled, a deep, shuddering breath, the first truly unlabored breath he had taken since he was 8 years old. "Mr. An," Jaehan commanded, his voice unnervingly calm. "The protocol is canceled. Everything is canceled. Call my security team. I want this suite locked down, absolute privacy. You will bring me the revised merger contract and a bottle of the 1998 Chateau Haut-Brion. Then, you will wait outside. No interruptions. For any reason." Mr. An, recognizing the terrifying, absolute conviction in his eyes, finally bowed low. "Yes, Chairman. Immediately." He backed out, leaving them alone with the cold truth hanging in the air. Jaehan set the requested bottle on a side table and turned back to Kira. "Sit down, Miss Hayes. We need to talk about the final clause of the merger. It has changed." Kira felt a chill that had nothing to do with the room's temperature. "I won't sit down, Mr. Park," she said firm, despite the trembling in her voice. "You will tell me what just happened. You risked a severe, potentially fatal accident just now to ensure I didn't get hurt in the chaos. That protective instinct is the only thing keeping me here. Now explain yourself, or the merger is over." He retrieved a single, pristine sheet of heavy bond paper from his marble desk and slid it across to her. "The merger will only be completed, Miss Hayes, if you agree to this single, non-negotiable term." Kira slowly picked up the document. Her eyes scanned the matrimonial requirement. Supplemental Mandate 4.1.2. Matrimonial Requirement. The successful execution and completion of this merger is contingent upon the formal entry into a valid matrimonial agreement between the undersigned parties, Jaehan Park and Kira Hayes. This alliance shall be secured by formal legal marriage within 90 days of the signing. Said marriage shall remain legally intact for a minimum of 5 consecutive years. Any party found to be the initiating agent of divorce proceedings within this 5-year period shall be immediately liable to the non-initiating party for a compensation damage settlement of 10 billion Korean won. Kira dropped the paper as if it were burning her fingers. 10 billion won? Are you completely mad, Mr. Park? We're talking about a business merger, not a hostile takeover of my personal life. It is a necessity, Jaehan stated, his eyes unwavering. And you haven't read the incentive clause. He picked up the paper and pointed to the final lines. If you remain married for the full 5 years, I will personally compensate you with 5 billion won. Additionally, I will transfer the title of 3 luxury villas, one each in London, Tokyo, and New York, into your name. Your only marital obligation is to give me at least one heir. The sex does not matter. Chapter 11. The Unbearable Weight of Desire. Kira stared at him, her beautiful face a mixture of horror and confused fascination. An heir? Jaehoon, you can't be serious. You wouldn't even shake my hand. For weeks, you've maintained a distance so profound, I thought you despised me, and now you're proposing a 5-year, multi-billion-dollar transactional marriage and demanding a child? This is profoundly, unnervingly weird. She threw her hands up. I want true love, Jaehoon. My parents have a relationship built on passion and partnership, not a corporate contract with a divorce penalty. I will pass. Tell your grandmother to find another fiancé. The merger can proceed on its business merits, or it won't proceed at all. She took a step toward the door. Now let me out of here. Jaehoon moved too fast, placing himself between her and the door. His hands shot out, gripping her shoulders, the contact burning through his formal wear. I can't let you leave, he snarled, his voice raw, stripped of all corporate polish. He shook his head, frustration and a lifetime of repressed yearning exploding outward. You don't understand. You simply don't understand what you are to me. His eyes, usually cold and calculating, were wide, dark, and filled with a desperate, devastating sincerity she had never seen. Then the final, uncontrollable words burst from him. But I do love you. I want no one else but you. I have been falling for you since the very first day I lay my eyes on you. I just couldn't explain nor understand it. I've never been with anyone else. I've never been in any romantic relationship, and this is the first time I'm feeling this way or having sexual desires toward anyone. The raw honesty of the confession, the impossible words pouring from the lips of the Ice King, froze Kira completely. She stood rigid in his grip, her entire focus narrowed to the desperate, vulnerable man holding her. Chapter 12. Kira's Inner Conflict. The First Dilemma. Kira was stunned into silence. Sexual desires? He looked like a man about to confess a murder, not a crush. This is insane. The man who refused to shake my hand is confessing love? The terrifying, confusing part was that the way he looked at her now was a man utterly terrified, completely exposed. She also suspected she was falling for him. The intellectual intensity, the way their minds clicked, that silent language they spoke at work. And then there's Hyun. The fire, the charm, the contrast between the two brothers weighed heavily on her. Kira pulled away, finally breaking his desperate grip. She walked to the window, needing distance. Jaehoon, I need to be alone, please, she said without turning back. Jaehoon, please listen, Jaehoon started to say, paused, exhaled heavily. I'll be right next door. She pulled out her phone and called Zoe. Zoe, you won't believe what just happened. Kira recounted the impossible contract and the shock of his confession. He confessed he's never felt this way about anyone, that he's been falling for me since the first meeting, and that he has sexual desires for me. He actually blurted it out. Zoe's voice became serious. Kira, this is not a merger. This is a life or death scenario for him. And that marriage contract, that is a terrified, desperate scream. You need to figure out what he is hiding. Something is fundamentally wrong. But the fact that he blocked and protected you against the chaos is sweet, just not enough for you to get married for. I know, Kira sighed. But then there's Hyun. He's actively flirting with me, and he's everything Jaehoon isn't. I feel like I'm a pawn in a game between two ridiculously handsome, complicated Korean heirs, and I don't even know who is actually genuine. Chapter 13. The Aftermath and the Penthouse Visit. The next morning, after Kira had returned to her secure penthouse, Mr. An, who had discreetly monitored the suite, told Jaehoon about the call with Zoe and Kira's genuine dilemma regarding the two brothers. Jaehoon's face was etched with worry. He wanted to tell her everything, but Mr. An warned that revealing his full, terrifying vulnerability too soon could be dangerous. Chairman, she is questioning if she prefers cousin Hyun. Until she commits, revealing your deepest secret gives her the ultimate leverage, or worse, gives her the reason to walk away in fear. You must fight for her first. I'd rather fight for her future, Jae-hoon muttered. She's my destiny. Fate has plans for us. He arranged to visit her penthouse immediately to discuss the contract before the 2-day grace period began. Jae-hoon arrived, the atmosphere instantly electric. He told her the contract was solely between them, and while he understood her sharing with a close friend like Zoe, she was not allowed to share the details with anyone in Seoul. My grandmother doesn't know about the marriage clause. Yes, she's pressuring me to marry, and her list of suitable ladies are all full Korean heirs. This marriage clause was all me, because if I am to marry, it can only be you. I have no interest or desire for anyone else, and I will simply remain single if you refuse and choose someone else. You are my ideal partner. Chapter 15. My Beautiful Angel. Jae-hoon stepped in front of Kira, bridging the distance, his voice thick with unspent emotion. Kira, why is it so hard for you to believe I could fall for you? You are not hard to fall for, at all. I know Hyun wants you now too. He closed his eyes and exhaled heavily. The thought of anyone else with you makes me feel weird, crazy, possessive. All this is new to me, but I will respect your choices. I swear you are my present and future. I have no past with baggage. I'm all in. It's you or no one else. Plus, we work best together. His gloved hand hesitantly traced the line of his chin. God, you are beautiful. My angel, my beautiful angel. He described her brilliance, her fierce independence, her unwavering moral compass, and their compatibility. He paused, leaning closer, and his deep voice dropped to a near whisper. Just the way you look at me sometimes, I want nothing else. Tell me, why won't I fall for you? Tell me what you want me to do to prove I mean every word I say. Kira knew this must have taken true courage for him to be this vulnerable. He explained the contract further. I put the 10 billion won clause because we never divorce in our family. It's a till death do us part cultural rule we have. And if you would marry for love, you're not the type that would just divorce either. So I don't intend to ever divorce. But if after 5 years, you still can't fall in love with me too, I will give you your freedom. I am 1,000% sure you are the only one I want for a life partner. Kira, I can love us now for the both of us. Just say yes. Say yes, Kira. But you know the way you look at me sometimes, I could have sworn you feel the same, or at least like me. Do you not feel anything for me at all? He cupped her chin in one hand, looking straight into her dilated eyes. She stood frozen, tears building up. She looked into his eyes, searching, and then smiled through the tears. Yes, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Yes, I feel it too, but I need to process this. I need to be sure of what I feel. He smiled, a look of profound happiness and relief. Yeah? She said yes. Just give me 2 days, she requested. I have decided. I just need to talk to my parents about this. Can you give me that? I know the urgency of the merger. Of course, my beautiful angel. Take all the time you need. You chose me. That's all that matters. Can I hug you, please? Kira didn't answer, just smiled and stepped into him. He wrapped his arms around her in the longest, most meaningful hug he had ever had. This feels really good, Kira, he said softly into her hair. This is my first hug as an adult. Jae-hoon pulled back and reached into his pocket, pulling out a blue velvet box. It's not a ring. Don't panic, he said, seeing her tense. He opened the box, revealing 2 beautiful diamond necklaces, each shaped like half a heart that locked together to become one. On Kira's side, a tiny inscription read, My beautiful angel. I love you, Kira. She reads aloud, turning to him with teary eyes and whispering, I love you too, Jae-hoon. They're beautiful. He put her half on her and asked him to help him with his. Jae-hoon sat down and Kira went to his back and locked the necklace into place. Jae-hoon got up, pulled Kira for another long hug, and slowly went in for their first kiss. The kiss was magic, fire, and warmth. Slow at first, it got intense as both were carried away. When Kira moaned his name, he lost it. He tightened his grip, drawing her closer, both moving backwards toward the couch. When Kira's leg bumped into the couch, she pulled away gently, both breathless, their foreheads still together. Jaehoon said, "Kira, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't scare you. I don't know what happened. I couldn't stop. I never lose control like this." She smiled. "It's fine, but I think we should call it a night before we both regret anything further." "Yes, I have waited all my life. I can wait for 2 more days for your answer." He pulled up for another long hug and good night.
Chapter 15, The Rival's Awakening, Hyun. Kira FaceTimed Zoe, telling her everything. "I don't know. I really liked him, but I haven't had time to think about Hyun much," Kira confessed. "Jaehoon's been around somehow, a lot in my mind space at work. I don't know if that's why I feel this very strong connection to him." Meanwhile, Hyun Park, Jaehoon's cousin, stood at his office window, deep in thought. He was just wondering how Kira got deep under his skin, and she was now all he could think about. He had tried to ignore the feeling, but realized it was too late. He would pursue Kira. He had fallen madly in love with her. Hyun thought back to his recent interactions with Kira, the flirting, the intense gaze, the moment he felt that pure desire and ran away before doing something stupid. He knew his initial interest had been strategic, a way to annoy Jaehoon, but now the feeling was genuine. The thought of his cousin beating him to her was unbearable. Chapter 16, The Serpent's Alliance, Yoo So-jin. The news of the sudden, shocking, and highly rumored engagement between Park Jae-hoon and Kira Hayes reached Yoo So-jin, Jae-hoon's unofficial fiancé. So-jin, stunning and fiercely proud of her Korean pedigree, felt insulted and betrayed by his choice of an American. So-jin found Hyun in a secluded dark bar staring into an untouched glass of whiskey. Hyun was fuming that Jae-hoon had managed to use a marriage clause to secure Kira before he could make his move. "He chose her, an American girl who has been here for 3 weeks?" So-jin hissed. "After all the years I waited, he chooses an outsider? I knew he hated me, Hyun, but this is an insult." Hyun looked up, his face etched with genuine pain. "He didn't choose her, So-jin. He forced her hand with a corporate contract, but it changes nothing. I still want her." "Then you and I want the same thing," So-jin hissed. "For you, it's about taking her away. For me, it is about pride and reclaiming what is rightfully mine. Kira Hayes will not become the matriarch of the Park Group." Hyun watched her malice and realized he couldn't agree to anything that would genuinely harm Kira. "My interest in Kira is genuine now, So-jin. I am ready to snatch her away from Jae-hoon, but I won't agree to anything that can hurt her." So-jin smiled, cold and predatory. "Don't worry, Hyun. My plan is simply to make it look like she is playing two brothers. That will ruin her reputation with the matriarch, and Jae-hoon will be forced to cancel the engagement. You simply need to be the one she is caught with." She laid out the scheme, a powerful sedative, not an aphrodisiac, to knock Kira out. The press would be alerted, and a female waitress would be paid to escort a disoriented Kira to a private room. "And no, I won't be seen with her," Hyun instructed. "Have the female waiter help her to my room upstairs, room 66. I will wait for her there. Once you realize she's settled in the room, have your press up to my room with us in bed. I would act like I was drugged too. Not an aphrodisiac, something to knock her out in deep sleep for a good photo of us." Chapter 17, The Ambush. The press conference was scheduled immediately following Kira's brief medical observation after the gala chaos. The goal was to announce the engagement properly and control the damaging narrative. Yoo So-jin had leveraged her family connections to secure a spot on the welcoming committee, allowing her access to the catering staff. 10 minutes before the press conference started, So-jin discreetly paid a female waiter an obscene amount of cash. "This drink is for Miss Hayes," she instructed, pointing to a glass. "Ensure she drinks it. When she collapses, take her to the private suite on the executive floor, room 66. Kira, waiting backstage, accepted the drink and took a long sip. The sedative was potent, meant to induce deep, photo-op-ready sleep. A rush of heat hit her, followed by a dizzying disorientation and an overwhelming sense of physical need. Jae-hoon, finalizing his talking points, noticed her sway. "Kira, are you all right?" "I'm fine," she breathed, her voice husky, her mind clouded by the drug. Driven by the drug's chaotic impulses, she reached out and lightly brushed the bare skin of his neck above his thigh. The shock was twofold. The pure energy of her touch always invigorated him, but the desperation in her eyes alarmed him instantly. He realized the sedative was a setup. "Mr. On," Jae-hoon barked, his voice sharp with terror and rage. "Get the doctor, now! Cancel the press conference." He asked the nearby waitress to escort Kira immediately to his private room for medical assistance. Jae-hoon's room was room 69. The paid waitress, flustered by the chaos, looked at the sign above the door to the chairman's suite. The 9 on the digital display had, due to a recent unnoticed electrical short, broken, leaving only the 2 horizontal bars and the left vertical bar illuminated, making the number look exactly like a 6. The waitress, believing she was following So-jin's instructions perfectly and taking Kira to room 66, instead led Kira directly to Jae-hoon's suite, which was now labeled 66, and helped her onto the massive bed. She immediately alerted So-jin via text. "Target delivered to room 66, asleep." So-jin's eyes glittered. She gave the signal, "Now." Jae-hoon, frantic, abandoned the stage and rushed upstairs. He reached his suite, now showing the number 66, and saw the paid waitress exiting, pulling her phone from her ear with a look of smug satisfaction. He didn't hesitate. He burst into the room. Kira was sprawled across the king-size bed, her silk dress crumpled, her chest rising and falling rhythmically in a drug-induced heavy sleep. He felt a fresh wave of panic mixed with primal fear and devastating desire. He approached the bed, falling to his knees beside her. "Kira, my angel, wake up!" The noise of 100 pounding feet echoed down the hallway. The press, led by So-jin's planted photographers and reporters, had arrived, storming the room labeled 66. The door burst open just as Kira stirred, her eyes fluttering open, clouded and unfocused. She saw Jae-hoon kneeling over her. The sedative was fighting his mental control, leaving her body desperate for his cure. "Jae-hoon," she moaned, her voice thick with desire and confusion. "I feel so hot. I need your touch." She looked at him with desperation, unconsciously begging him to end the torment. "Please, Jae-hoon, just touch me." The fire of the drug was a physical test of his discipline. He was the only person who could satisfy this need without being harmed, and she was begging him to. His jaw clenched so hard the muscles were visibly jumped. "No, Kira," he whispered fiercely, leaning down so only she could hear, ignoring the flashes and the shouts. "I will not take advantage of you. You will be completely present for us. I want your mind and your heart, not just your body." He straightened up, his face an impenetrable mask of cold fury as he faced the chaos of the press corps. He used his body to shield Kira from the worst of the flashing lights. "There is no scandal here," he announced, his voice cutting through the frenzy like ice. "The woman lying on that bed, my fiancée, Kira Hayes, is suffering from severe food poisoning and exhaustion and is now under my private medical team." He fixed his gaze at the cameras. "While this incident will be thoroughly investigated to ensure no harm was deliberately intended towards my fiancé, I wish to use this opportunity to formally announce our engagement. Kira Hayes is my fiancée and future wife." A reporter shouted,
Is it true you forced Miss Hayes into this marriage as a clause to the merger? Miss Hayes and I have been working together for a long while now. As you all know, it is only natural that two ambitious people who respect and understand each other's vision fell in love. So you're saying the feeling is mutual? Another reporter demanded. Kira moaned loudly, clinging to his arm. I don't feel good, Jae-hoon. Jae-hoon, sensing the moment of truth, looked directly into the camera lens, his expression a perfect blend of sincere concern and deep affection. Absolutely. However, Miss Hayes isn't feeling too well to answer your questions today because of the food poisoning. We will address all your concerns in our next press conference. Just then, Mr. On arrived with the doctor, pushing past the crowd of reporters. Thank you, everyone, Jae-hoon dismissed, standing like a rock over Kira as the doctor walked in, straight past the stunned reporters. Good day.